I got a question about becoming a full-time freelance copywriter. This is Mailbox Monday, the weekly episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, where I answer your questions about copywriting, marketing, business building, freelancing, and more. Today's question is, how do I work around my full-time job and make enough money to finally make the leap into copywriting full-time? And if you have a question like this that you'd like to have answered in an upcoming episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, check the link in the description to submit your question. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this delivered to you. Let's dive in. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. Okay, so if you like today's episode, if you like this topic of today's episode, you definitely need to check out my training, Freedom Through Copywriting. It's where I break down the whole process of obtaining financial freedom and much broader freedoms through your copywriting skills and abilities, whether that's through becoming an employee, becoming a freelancer, becoming an entrepreneur, or taking that entire path as a copywriter entrepreneur. So that link is in the description. It's to Freedom Through Copywriting. It's part of the BTMSinsiders training library. Pay one low monthly fee, get instant streaming access to that training and everything else in the catalog there. So back to today's question. How do I work around my full-time job and make enough money to finally make the leap into copywriting full-time? I'm going to break this down into 5 steps or 5 goals that you need to achieve in order to do this. So let's start with goal number 1. Goal number 1 is, hey, you're working a full-time job and you're looking to launch a freelance business. Goal number 1 is actually to prove to yourself that you can get and satisfy freelance clients on the side. So you need to be making sure that you actually have this capability and you understand the process and that you're able to do it in a repeatable way. So really, your first goal is get your first freelance client on the side and then to repeat that over and over again. Because if you're not able to do that, then why would you be able to do it full time? On the other hand, I think that you will be able to do it. It's really not that complex of a process. You say, hey, I'm able to solve this problem with my copywriting, with my marketing, or whatever problem you solve for whoever. You find the person that you are able to help and you tell them what problem you're able to solve. And if they have that problem and they believe that your solution is going to help them, then you make the offer for what it's going to take for them to take you up on that. And so it's a fairly simple process, and I've taught it a bunch of times, but you need to be getting freelance clients on the side. Now, this has a couple benefits. Number 1, you're proving to yourself that you can actually do this, that you can become a freelancer, that you can get freelance clients, that you can do all of that on repeat. But number 2, you should be setting aside a little bit of extra income. Now, I don't want you to go spend that income. I want you to start putting that money aside. That is one type of freedom fund for you, which brings us to goal number 2. Goal number 2 is to have a 90-day runway. Now, you could have this be all sorts of sizes, but I like 90 days as a size. Basically, what the point of this is if you don't make any money for 3 months, this fund would be able to pay all your bills. Now, it's smart at this point to kind of pare back some bills to minimize financial responsibilities. But what you need to do, no matter how big your financial responsibilities are, is you need to make sure that you have at least 90 days expenses covered in a fund that you can easily tap into, but that you should try not to touch. So you should set aside that money and you should have it available as a way to have security if income is not as consistent or whatever out of the gate. So set aside 90 days worth of expenses and don't try to launch your freelance business until you have at least 90 days set aside explicitly for this purpose, for being able to pay the bills when you go out and launch your freelance business. And for some people, you'll be able to get this put together really fast. For some people, it may take a little bit longer, but the goal is to have those 3 months, those 90 days set aside. Goal number 3 is to set a start date. Very intentionally set a start date out in the future, maybe a couple months. You don't want it to be too quick, you don't want it to be too long, but basically this is the day after which you plan to not work at your full-time job anymore. And what you need to do, and the reason you set this, is you're going to use this as a way to go out and start approaching clients and say, hey, I am taking on new business at this point. And if you're interested in doing business with me, and you can approach your past clients, you can approach new clients. Remember, if you've been getting freelance clients on the side, you understand the process by this point. So you set that start date some point out in the future. And this is going to be, you're going to have to do certain things leading up to this. So you're going to want to give your 2 weeks notice or 1 month notice to your employer, all that stuff, right? But you want to set a start date out in the future, which is going to be your target date. And you say to potential clients during this time, let's say it's a 2-month window, hey, in 2 months or in 6 weeks, I'm going to start doing projects with clients full-time freelance. So I'm going to have more availability open up at that time. Are you interested in securing one of the spots? Now, what you can do here is you can actually ask them to pay a 50% deposit towards your work at that period of time, right? And so you say, hey, if you're interested in securing one of those spots on my calendar, you pay a 50% deposit, and then when the final copy is turned in, there's an additional 50% due. And so you set that start date, and this, we've already kind of moved over into goal number 4, which is to fill your pipeline by the deadline. And so you have set this goal, you've set this start date, you've set this deadline for yourself, and you just want to fill your pipeline, maybe at least a month's worth of work. The idea is that you are building this perpetual waitlist, right? This waitlist of potential clients, of projects that exist in the future for you to take on as soon as you're ready for them. And so you fill your pipeline by that deadline, so that you can basically hit the ground running when you switch from full-time to freelance. And then goal number 5, you're getting to the deadline, go ahead and make the leap. Go ahead and do it. Don't this entire path is set out to make you as secure as possible going forward, so you don't need to chicken out at this point. And let me actually reflect back through these. Goal number 1 was freelance clients on the side. Goal number 2 was a 90-day runway. Goal number 3 was set a start date. Goal number 4 was fill your pipeline by the deadline. And goal number 5 was to make the leap. For me, starting in like 2006, 2007, I did start getting freelance clients on the side, and I wasn't getting a lot, but I was fairly successful in a full-time marketing job before it. So I was fairly comfortable with what I was doing, but I was getting some clients on the side. Goal number 2 eventually built up the savings to a place where I was really comfortable with a 90-day runway, where I was actually able to cover all my expenses. My plan was to not touch it, and ultimately I didn't touch it. But I had that 90 days expenses set aside so that I didn't have to worry. I had a mortgage. I had a kid who was less than a year old. Like, we were about to move across the country. There was a lot of reasons to be financially wary at that point. But still, that 90-day runway gave me the confidence to do it. Goal number 3, I set a start date. Actually, I set that start date for the end of February of 2010. And I ended up filling my pipeline, goal number 4, by the deadline, actually a little bit early, so that I was actually able to give my 2 weeks notice at the beginning of February. February 11th, 2010 was my personal Independence Day, the day at which I basically quit. I quit going into the job full time. Like it was a goodbye, and I've never looked back since then. And that's how I accomplished goal number 5, which was to make the leap. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope it's at least a series of guideposts that you can follow, or steps that you can take in order to set aside enough money and feel confident making the leap as a full-time freelance copywriter. If you have a question that you'd like to have answered in an upcoming episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, check the link in the description to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com/ask. And there's the link in the description to Freedom Through Copywriting, which goes into a lot more detail into all the different levels of freedom that you can achieve, not just going from full-time to freelance, but all the freedom that you can achieve through the skill of copywriting. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And every day in every way, I'm here helping you increase your marketing genius, including, hey, doing something simple like launching a freelance copywriting business. I'll catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.